California's suburbs were supposed to be the last safe haven for the middle class. Quiet neighborhoods, stable mortgages, a place to finally breathe. But here's what almost nobody realizes. In 2025, some of these once affordable suburbs are now facing housing costs rising faster than major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. And the most shocking part? Some families earning six figures are still getting priced out because entire suburban communities are being reshaped by forces they never saw coming. Number 10. Elk Grove wasn't always in crisis. In fact, in the early 2000s, it was one of California's fastest-growing suburbs, celebrated as a peaceful alternative to Sacramento's rising housing market. Between 2000 and 2010, its population exploded from 59,984 to over 153,000, a staggering 155% increase. On the surface, this seemed like the dream scenario. More homes, more families, more development. But here's where it gets alarming. Elk Grove's infrastructure, job base, and income levels didn't scale nearly fast enough. In 2024, the median home price sits at around $630,000, while the median household income hovers near $102,000. That sounds manageable, until you realize that mortgage payments on the median home now consume nearly 45% of take-home income, pushing families right to the edge of financial collapse. So what does this sudden growth actually mean for someone trying to live here? Imagine moving into what feels like a peaceful family suburb, only to be hit with rising HOA fees, clogged traffic that adds an extra 90 hours per year to commute time, and schools that are now at or above capacity. Residents are reporting wait lists just to get kids enrolled in local elementary schools. Meanwhile, rapid development has driven up property taxes, leaving longtime residents paying thousands more per year just to stay in their homes. To put it simply, Elk Grove expanded faster than it could breathe, and now families are suffocating under the pressure. But here's why this matters beyond one suburb. Elk Grove is a warning sign. It shows what happens when suburbs try to solve urban overflow by building fast without building smart. This is no longer about can you afford to move here, but can this suburb survive its own success? In the broader California housing crisis, Elk Grove isn't an outlier. It's a blueprint of what happens when demand floods a suburb before infrastructure, wages, and housing policy are ready to catch up. If this pattern repeats in other rising suburbs, 2025 could trigger a domino effect of financial strain that pushes even more families to the brink of leaving California entirely. But here's the twist. Elk Grove's rapid expansion is just one version of the crisis. Because the next suburb on our list isn't drowning from too much demand, it's collapsing from a different threat that could be even more destructive. And at 9, we have the Moreno Valley was supposed to be Southern California's logistics goldmine. After the Great Recession, city officials pushed hard for industrial expansion, especially massive fulfillment centers tied to companies like Amazon, Walmart, and FedEx. Between 2012 and 2023, Moreno Valley added over 35 million square feet of warehouse space, making it one of the fastest growing logistics hubs in the entire country. At first, this looked like a dream. Jobs were created, housing development surged, and the median home price shot from $215,000 in 2012 to over $515,000 in 2024. That's a 139% increase in just over a decade. But here's the part nobody expected. This job boom didn't actually create long-term financial stability for locals. Most warehouse jobs pay between $17 and $20 per hour, which translates to roughly $35,000 to $42,000 per year. Yet, to comfortably afford the median home price in Moreno Valley under current mortgage rates, a household needs to earn at least $115,000 annually. This means the very people fueling the suburb's economic engine are priced out of living there. Residents are calling it the warehouse trap. More buildings, more trucks, more traffic, but fewer people actually able to afford the homes that line the surrounding subdivisions. Living here now comes at a cost, both financially and physically. The explosion of diesel truck traffic on roads like State Route 60 and Paris Boulevard has led to an increase in respiratory health complaints. In 2023, local health data showed a 23% spike in asthma cases, especially among children. Meanwhile, commuters are reporting average delays of 45 to 70 minutes daily, even for short-distance travel. Add in rising home insurance rates due to increased construction risk zones, And Moreno Valley has quietly become one of the most stressful suburbs to live in for middle-income families in California. Zooming out, Moreno Valley isn't just about homes, it's about the dangerous illusion of economic development solving the housing crisis. It shows how a suburb can grow in all the wrong ways, building jobs that don't support mortgages, housing that doesn't match wages, and infrastructure that cracks under industrial pressure. If the 2010s were about building fast, then 2025 may be about paying the price for poor planning, and suburban residents are the ones picking up the bill. But here's where things get even more intense, because the next suburb didn't collapse from economic misalignment. It's being quietly drained from the inside by a factor no one saw coming until it was too late. Number 8. Antioch once marketed itself as the affordable escape route for Bay Area families priced out of San Francisco and Oakland. In the early 2010s, it actually worked. Population surged past 115,000, and commuters accepted the 60-plus mile daily trek because homes were significantly cheaper. But here's where the narrative took a sharp turn. Around 2018, institutional investors and rental conglomerates began buying Antioch properties in bulk. By 2024, an estimated 41% of single-family homes in certain Antioch neighborhoods were investor-owned, with many converted into high-yield rentals. That shift triggered a tidal wave of change. As rental density climbed, crime rates followed. Between 2019 and 2022, reported burglary and property crimes rose by over 27%, pushing long-term homeowners to panic sell or flee altogether. Suddenly, Antioch's biggest selling point, affordable ownership, was replaced with rising fear, unstable neighborhoods, and homes cycling through tenants at alarming rates. In response, insurance providers began marking Antioch as a, quote, higher-risk region, causing annual premiums to jump by 15% to 25% for many residents in 2023 alone. For families now moving here, the housing choice feels more like gambling than settling. Yes, the median home price of $575,000 is far lower than nearby Walnut Creek or San Jose. But new buyers are weighing that against questions like, will my home value tank if the neighborhood keeps destabilizing? Could my property be surrounded by rental churn? Am I signing up for long commutes and rising crime just to afford a roof? The emotional cost is now competing directly with the financial appeal. And here's why Antioch's story matters on a statewide scale. It signals a dangerous shift in California suburbia, from family-built communities to investor-controlled neighborhoods. It's not just about whether you can afford a house, it's whether you can depend on the neighborhood's long-term stability. When investors dictate the suburb's identity, local homeowners lose control of their future, and the American dream starts looking more like a corporate leasing plan. But as concerning as Antioch's investor invasion is, the next suburb is facing a completely different nightmare, because there, the housing crisis isn't just about money or safety. It's about a life-threatening environmental threat creeping closer every year. At number 7, Santa Rosa used to feel like heaven tucked into wine country. With rolling hills, quiet neighborhoods, and proximity to both nature and Napa Valley luxury, it became the dream relocation spot for Bay Area escapees throughout the late 2010s. But everything changed in October 2017 when the Tubbs fire tore through the region, destroying over 600 structures and leveling entire neighborhoods like Coffey Park. Overnight, Santa Rosa transformed from a peaceful suburb into a case study of what happens when natural disaster and housing crises collide. Following the disaster, home prices actually skyrocketed instead of dropping. Why? Because thousands of displaced residents began scrambling for housing at the same time that reconstruction costs surged. During 2018 to 2021, the median home price jumped from roughly $540,000 to over $750,000. And then came the insurance crisis. By 2023, multiple major insurers, including State Farm and Allstate, began withdrawing or raising premiums dramatically due to elevated fire risk. Santa Rosa homeowners started reporting insurance hikes from $1,800 per year to over $6,000, with some being forced into the state's higher-cost FAIR plan as a last resort. Living here now comes with a heavy emotional cost. Families wonder every fire season if their investment and their lives are at risk. Schools have been periodically closed due to smoke events. Evacuation drills are now as common as morning commutes. And while economists warn that more frequent fires could trigger a home value correction, residents are caught in a terrifying limbo, trapped between homes they can't afford to insure and neighborhoods they're too afraid to completely abandon. But here's the bigger implication. Santa Rosa is a preview of a statewide reality. As climate risk merges with California's affordability crisis, we're entering a new era where "can I afford a home" is replaced with "can I safely keep one?" When your mortgage isn't your biggest fear, but losing everything in a single night is, that's no longer just a housing issue. That's a psychological emergency disguised as real estate. And what makes this even more alarming? The next suburb is experiencing a crisis that looks harmless at first, but could cause financial ruin in slow motion, especially for younger buyers who think they're getting a deal. Number 6. Bakersfield keeps popping up on every list as one of California's most affordable housing markets, and on paper it looks like a golden ticket for first-time buyers. With median home prices hovering around $385,000 in 2024, it's less than half the price of homes in cities like San Diego or San Jose. But here's the twist. Bakersfield's affordability is masking a dangerous long-term financial trap that many homeowners don't fully see until they're already stuck. Let's break it down. The median household income in Bakersfield is around $69,000. But to safely afford a $385,000 home under current interest rates, a household ideally needs to earn closer to $90,000 to $95,000. That means a large percentage of buyers are stretching themselves financially just to enter the housing market. On top of that, Bakersfield is heavily dependent on industries like agriculture and oil, both of which face increasing instability due to drought regulations and environmental policy shifts. Between 2020 and 2023, the city saw multiple mini-employment shocks due to oil price fluctuations, causing pockets of mortgage delinquencies to spike by as much as 18% in affected zones. But it gets worse. Homes in Bakersfield historically appreciate at a significantly slower rate than properties in coastal areas. While Los Angeles homes saw an average 87% increase in value over the past decade, Bakersfield clocked in at closer to 52%, meaning homeowners may be investing in properties that don't build equity fast enough to provide real upward mobility. This has birthed a new kind of homeowner anxiety. What if I get stuck in a home I can't profit from, can't sell, and can barely afford during economic downturns? Zooming out, Bakersfield represents a cruel paradox at the heart of California's housing debate. Yes, cheaper suburbs exist, but they often come with hidden risks that turn affordable into financially stagnant. Buying here may feel like getting ahead, but for many families, it becomes a dead-end route with limited long-term payoff and high vulnerability to job loss. In a state where wealth is often tied to home equity, being trapped in a slow-growth market could mean being permanently priced out of better opportunities later. And the danger doesn't stop there, because the next suburb on our list isn't struggling due to affordability illusions. It's under intense pressure because its popularity is working too well, turning dream neighborhoods into gridlocked, over-leveraged pressure cookers. And at number 5, Roseville has spent the last decade being marketed as the perfect family suburb. Great schools, clean neighborhoods, low crime, and close enough to Sacramento for commuters. Between 2010 and 2023, its population climbed from around 118,000 to over 154,000, turning it into one of Placer County's fastest-growing cities. Home values surged in response, jumping from a median of $350,000 in 2015 to over $715,000 in 2024, a staggering 104% increase in less than 10 years. But beneath the polished surface, there's a growing panic that Roseville is burning out under the weight of its own popularity. Here's what residents are starting to notice. The once light traffic is now swelling into weekday gridlock, with commute times to Sacramento increasing by up to 35% since 2018. School district reports from 2023 reveal multiple campuses operating near or at 98% capacity, forcing talks of boundary changes and costly expansions. Meanwhile, rising property taxes and Mello-Roos fees, commonly ranging from $3,000 to $5,000 per year, are pushing even mid-income homeowners dangerously close to budget-breaking territory. What was once a predictable cost of living suburb is becoming a financial balancing act, where one unexpected bill can topple everything. Then there's the water problem. Roseville relies on a combination of local groundwater and water allocations from Folsom Lake, which has seen repeated drought-level lows in recent years. City warnings issued in 2022 and 2023 enforced watering restrictions and triggered significant debate about whether the city can sustain continued residential expansion without risking future shortages. When a suburb grows faster than its water supply, residents begin to question whether long-term stability is even possible. Zooming out, Roseville exposes a painful truth. Even the good suburbs are not immune to housing crisis pressure. When demand skyrockets too fast, the dream lifestyle that attracted people in the first place begins to erode. The emotional cost is subtle but powerful. Families are caught between loving where they live and fearing that tomorrow it may become financially or structurally unsustainable. And here's where things get even more complicated. Because while Roseville is struggling to handle rapid growth, the next suburb is facing a crisis of stagnation, where even growth can't save it from economic decline. At 4, we have Pleasanton, in the heart of the East Bay, has long been the poster child for suburban prosperity. Wide streets, immaculate landscaping, top-rated schools, and proximity to Silicon Valley jobs made it a magnet for high-income professionals. Between 2015 and 2022, home prices nearly doubled, with median values soaring from $750,000 to over $1.45 million. On paper, it looked untouchable, but 2025 tells a different story. The very factors that fueled its growth are now triggering its decline. First, rising costs are squeezing even affluent households. Annual property taxes can exceed $20,000, HOA fees often top $1,000 per month, and utility bills continue to climb alongside energy prices. Combine that with tech layoffs that have hit nearby Silicon Valley employers, and the once reliable dual-income households are facing unprecedented financial pressure. Many families who bought at the peak of the market now find themselves underwater, struggling to maintain a lifestyle they assumed was stable. The housing market reflects this stress. Homes that would have sold within days in 2021 now sit for months, even when priced aggressively. Realtors report that luxury listings in Ruby Hill and Vintage Hills often need multiple price reductions before attracting serious buyers. Open houses that were once vibrant and competitive now feel quiet and hesitant, signaling that sentiment, not just economics, is shifting. Pleasanton's story isn't isolated. It's a warning signal for high-income suburbs everywhere. When even the wealthiest households feel the pinch, affordability and confidence in the housing market collapse in tandem. It's a reminder that no suburb is immune, regardless of status or amenities. The strain in Pleasanton might seem extreme, but if you think rising costs alone are the problem, the next suburb exposes an even broader danger, where international buyers and tech layoffs collide to crack a perfect suburban blueprint. Number 3. Irvine has long been the crown jewel of Southern California's suburban design. Known for meticulously planned communities, top-ranked schools, and a sense of order that felt immune to market swings, Irvine was considered a, quote, bulletproof investment for families and professionals alike. Between 2010 and 2022, median home prices skyrocketed from around $550,000 to over $1.1 million, and condo sales surged, drawing international buyers who were eager to stake a claim in the idyllic Orange County enclave. It seemed like the American dream, perfected. But by 2025, that illusion began to fracture. Median home prices have fallen 11%, and condo sales are down 40%, with many high-rise developments struggling to fill units. The disappearance of international buyers, once accounting for nearly 40% of luxury home sales, has left a void that domestic demand alone cannot fill. At the same time, tech layoffs and remote work reversals have shrunk the professional buyer pool, leaving developers scrambling with incentives like mortgage buydowns, Tesla credits, and closing cost coverage just to move units. The ripple effects go beyond numbers. Families who once felt insulated by Irvine's reputation for stability now face monthly costs upwards of $4,500, factoring in HOA dues, insurance, and mortgage payments. Even in traditionally secure neighborhoods like Turtle Rock and Woodbury, bidding wars have vanished, replaced by cautious lowball offers. Rentals aren't safe either. Luxury apartments that once commanded $3, $804, $200 a month are now struggling to attract tenants, forcing landlords to slash rates. Irvin's unraveling illustrates a critical lesson. Perfection in suburban planning can't shield a community from macroeconomic shocks. The very features that once made Irvine irresistible, international appeal, tech-centric employment, and meticulously engineered living, have become vulnerabilities in a volatile market. Investors and families alike are learning that no amount of order guarantees security. Irvine's story is alarming, but if you think this is just about tech layoffs or foreign capital, the next suburb takes the risk even further. San Ramon exposes how suburban brilliance can suddenly become fragility when corporate dependency and luxury costs collide. And at number 2, San Ramon, perched in the heart of the East Bay, was once the blueprint for modern suburban prosperity. Anchored by Chevron's corporate campus and the sprawling developments of Bishop Ranch, the city became synonymous with safety, luxury, and high-paying tech jobs. Families flocked here for top schools, manicured streets, and homes that seemed to promise both wealth and stability. By 2022, median home prices had surged past $1.2 million, with high-end properties in Gale Ranch and Windermere commanding $2 million or more, often selling within weeks of listing. But by 2025, cracks began to appear. Median prices have dropped 17%, and inventory has doubled, leaving previously hot neighborhoods like Windermere with homes sitting unsold for months. Even cash buyers, once the backbone of San Ramon's luxury market, are hesitating. The reasons are layered: tech layoffs, slowing corporate relocations, and the fading remote work boom that once funneled affluent professionals into these cul-de-sacs. Families who stretched for $2 million mortgages in 2021 now face $9.500 monthly payments, excluding taxes and HOA fees, forcing many to reconsider whether staying in San Ramon is sustainable. The impact extends beyond economics. Cafes, boutique shops, and gyms that once thrived on affluent foot traffic are seeing quieter days, and the mood has shifted from optimism to caution. Realtors speak of shadow listings, homes quietly offered to select buyers to avoid market perception issues. San Ramon's biggest strength, its proximity to Silicon Valley, is now a vulnerability. When bonuses vanish and salaries tighten, even dual-income tech households must scale back, eroding the demand that once insulated this polished suburb from downturns. San Ramon's story is a warning that success can seed fragility. A suburb designed for growth and wealth can suddenly become a cautionary tale when the very factors that created prosperity, tech dependence, luxury pricing, and corporate-driven demand reverse. It reminds us that no suburb, no matter how meticulously engineered, is immune to broader economic and social shocks. San Ramon's decline is stark, but the next suburb, number 1, Santa Rosa, tells an even more heartbreaking story, where resilience and recovery meet the crushing weight of repeated crises. And finally at number 1, Santa Rosa, nestled in the heart of California's wine country, has long been a symbol of resilience. After surviving devastating wildfires in 2017 and 2020, entire neighborhoods were rebuilt from ashes, and home values surged on hope and determination. Families, investors, and even retirees poured in, drawn to the city's rolling vineyards, charming downtown, and the promise that life in Santa Rosa meant triumph over adversity. By 2022, median home prices had climbed nearly 40%, a testament to its remarkable comeback. Newly constructed homes became emblems of perseverance, communities rebuilt stronger and more beautiful than before. But by 2025, the story is shifting from triumph to struggle. Home values are down nearly 19%, and insurance premiums have doubled, with California's FAIR Plan now covering 1 in 5 homes, the last resort insurer for properties no private carrier will touch. Entirely rebuilt neighborhoods that once represented hope now sit unsold for over 200 days, as buyers are paralyzed by the twin threats of rising costs and the looming wildfire risk. Sellers are forced to slash hundreds of thousands just to attract interest, and even affluent homeowners are questioning whether staying is worth it. The emotional toll is perhaps the most profound. Families who rebuilt after multiple fires are exhausted, both financially and mentally. "We've rebuilt twice," one agent recounts. "We just can't do it again." Local businesses feel the strain too. Foot traffic dwindles as residents tighten budgets, and the vibrant community energy that once defined Santa Rosa now feels muted, almost suspended in time. Santa Rosa illustrates that resilience has limits. Even the strongest communities, Those that have survived catastrophe and rebuilt can falter when financial pressures, environmental risks, and emotional fatigue collide. It's a stark reminder that the California housing crisis isn't just about prices. It's about the human cost of sustainability and survival in an unpredictable world. Santa Rosa's struggle might feel isolated, but it's part of a bigger pattern across California. From the surf of San Clemente to the tech suburbs of San Ramon, every zip code tells the same story. The dream of suburban stability is under siege, and no one is immune.